Demystifying some of the crazy FA behaviors. I'm Dr. Sarah Hensley. I'm a specialized social psychologist, and I've been studying the science of attachment and attraction inside romantic relationships for over 15 years. And FA stands for fearful avoidant. If you don't know what attachment is, oh my gosh, you have a rabbit hole that will change your life to go down. So fearful avoidance grew up with some kind of trauma during key attachment years. This could be little t trauma, like parents that fought all the time, or it could be big T trauma, like my dad was abusive and used to hit us and scream all the time. It could be something like that. The most common risk factors I see are divorce in childhood, where the divorce was not handled very well between parents, parents that were very dysfunctional in terms of their own romantic relationships, so they fought and were very volatile, a parent with a mental illness, a parent with a substance abuse problem, or a parent that parented in an overly strict manner. So these risk factors and events could be ongoing, or they could be a single incident. Either way, what happened in childhood caused the child to lose trust in one or more of their caregivers. This made it where they have a very deep betrayal wound that they struggle with. And when we think betrayal, we usually think cheating, but that's not really what this is. It's betrayal in terms of you can't love me correctly. You can't show up for me in the way that I need you to be a good partner to me. So fearful avoidance, because of their trauma and because of this deep betrayal wound, developed a level of hypervigilance inside of their relationships. So they really put people under a microscope. I mean, an FA can notice a tone shift, a micro expression on someone's face, and they give deep meaning to that. It puts their antenna up and they're like, oh, what's wrong? What's going on? This happened because they had to study their caregiver or caregivers in childhood to stay safe. So if you had a dad who was an alcoholic and who was prone to rage, you might look really closely at dad when you get home from school and say, oh my gosh, is dad drinking? Isn't he in a good mood? Can I approach him? Do I need to go upstairs and hide? What was going on? So that's why FAs are hypervigilant. They study other people deeply without even knowing it. They also feel extremely intensely. So FAs do have the ability to disassociate and compartmentalize and go up into that freeze response, but most of their life they have stayed toggling between a fight state and a flight state. Here are their most common behaviors and the reasons why they do it. Okay, number one, they tend to move the goalpost inside of their relationships, which means they tend to change up what makes them unhappy, really always seeking out a reason to be unhappy with their partners. So this is a trust test, and none of the little tests of moving the goalpost ever satisfy that betrayal wound long term. So they may be like, oh, I'm mad at you because you didn't clean the garage. Then you go clean the garage, and then today they were mad at you because you didn't give them a hug when you walked in the door. They're literally always trying to find a problem. And it's not that they're doing that intentionally to be this negative person or to be a bad partner. It's because deeply they just don't trust you to show up for them. So they're and they're already putting you under a microscope, right? Being hypervigilant of all the ways in which you're disappointing them. So if they find those things and they tell you, they're kind of seeing, will you kick it through the goalpost? Will you meet that need for them? And then temporarily it soothes that big wound of trust. Number two, they can beat a dead horse during conflict. They may make you feel berated. They will explain something over and over and over and over again from 1,000 different perspectives. And that's because they have this deep need to be seen, heard, and understood. To them, that really equates trust. I mean, think about it. We don't just meet somebody on the street and trust them, right? We don't know them. So they feel like if I know you and you know me, I can trust you. And so if I'm deeply seen, heard, and understood, then that's trust and I can move forward. Plus, it's like, I really know you won't do it again, right? I've really got my point across. I've beat it into your head. They may become mean or spiteful during conflict. And this is often why people get narcissists mixed up with fearful avoidance, because fearful avoidance can be mean. They can be a little manipulative, but the intent and what they experience afterwards is very different from the narcissist. So if the fearful avoidant is in pain, they have this natural reaction to throw it back at you and make you in pain, because again, their deepest need is to be seen, heard, and understood. So at the subconscious level, it's like, if I'm in pain, I need to make you in pain, and then we are sort of even. The playing field is level and we can understand each other and we can connect. Unless we can connect in that way where we're deeply both sort of in the same place, you're never going to understand me enough for us to work through this. They usually feel really bad about this when the conflict is over, and they will come and they will apologize. A narcissist does not apologize, and they do not care that they were mean and spiteful. In fact, they meant to be that way, and they don't see it as a problem. They see it as like, hey, sorry that I'm just better at conflict than you. And lastly, fearful avoidants will oscillate between their anxious behaviors and their avoidant behaviors. They tend to lean to one side or the other, so they may have a lot more anxious behaviors than avoidant behaviors, or vice versa. That's why often people don't recognize themselves as a fearful avoidant, because they've leaned so much into one side of their attachment, that is what they recognize. Anxiety is very easy to recognize because it's moving towards the partner, it's seeking out connection. Most FAs don't realize their avoidance, like shutting down and not saying how you feel because you are afraid of the response you're going to get. Fearful avoidant. If you enjoy my content, you know that one day we may wake up without this app. So click the link in my bio right now. Go do it right now and follow me on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Once a month, I'm going to pick a new follower and I'm going to give away a coaching package. And you can see me at my website, thedatingdecoder.com.